So Lamed Aleph Tosfot. We're going in here. We have a Maklokas between the Chachamim and Rabbi Eliezer. And Rabbi Eliezer the time made Amar Ein Adam Yotzi Dei Chavosa B'Sukkah Shel Chavero. So you're not Yotze with somebody else's sukkah. If Karka is Negzela Sukkah Gezulahi, if the Karka could be stolen, so it's a Sukkah Gezola. Now over there, this is going back earlier in the second parak, where he has Lecha has to be yours. So it also says Inam Karka Ein Negzela. So Tosfot says Emes Hu the Rebbe Eliezer Sofer Kain that E Karka Negzelas. He holds that Taka Karka is Nigzelas. So therefore here the Gemara seems to be offering it up as a suffix. It's saying that maybe he holds, we don't know what he holds, and maybe he holds that Karka is Nigzelet. Maybe he holds Karka ain't a Nigzelet. So Tosfot is asking, Emes, yeah, he does take a hold as Karka is Nigzelet. So therefore, the reason he holds it's Lacha, it's Sukkah Gezulahi. So that's why it's not working. So Ksavar Kain Dershmeinen Lehaki B'Hagoizel Baster and Bava Kama we learn that Goizel, that the land can be stolen. Just earlier he learns Lacha says that it has to be yours. So why Taka does the Gemara have it as a Safek? But he wants to answer the words in all manners. So even if he doesn't hold it, it still doesn't work. Now the other side of this is just really a Gemara pshat. In Amikarka Ein Nigzelas, which is how we hold Sukkah Sha'ulahi, and then you're not Yotze with a Sukkah Sha'ula. Now, according to the Chachamim, they hold Rabbanan L'Tamehu Da Amar Adam Yotze Yadachu V'so B'Sukkah Shel Chaver V'Karka Ein Nigzelas. So, since the Karka is not stolen, therefore if you use it, therefore you're still Yotze. So there's a whole shaila in the Shulchan Aruch. Mr. Brewer goes into it about if you use Karka in Rishus Harabim, if you put your sukkah in Rishus Harabim, so there basically b'diavad your Yotze v'lechatchila don't do it. And there's all reasons as to why to say that really it's okay. Maybe in Israel it's okay because there's no kinyan on it, but if you have a mechila, but then in Chutz La'aretz the goyim don't give you a mechila. So you have like sukkahs in New York outside of restaurants and things like that. They're in the Rishus Harabim. It's not so poshut that those sukkahs are lechatchila. There's also issues of if you wouldn't sleep there at night, so then it's no good during the day. So there's all issues like that. But it is a sugya here as to whether the Karka Nigzelas, even though he holds Karka is not Nigzelas, lechatchila, you shouldn't have a sukkah in a Rishus Harabim, although there are matirim based on this facts. So the sukkah she'ulehi, if it's shel chaver v'karka in nigzelas. Aval gazel eitzim v'shecha b'chem divrei hakol ein lo ela demei eitzim. So ein lo ela demei eitzim, meaning that it's yours and it's not. You won't have to pay him back. It's yours and you don't have to. And you're Yotze. So gazel eitzim v'shecha b'hem. That's when you stole. If you steal the sukkah, but Rabbi Eliezer agreed to the Chachamim that if you steal the wood and you secha b'hem, then everyone holds that it's a kosher sukkah. So ein zeh gazula. It's not stolen. V'lo she'ula. So therefore Rabbi Eliezer would puzzle those two. The kinyan, it's a kinyan b'shinei ma'aseh v'shinei Hashem. Now this is really the words of Rashi. But Tosfot we saw before, it says even though these are choizer lebriason, that it's a good kinyan because when they both come together, that was the Tosfot we did at the bottom of Lamana Amud Beis Ayin Sham. But this is just the words of Rashi at this point, so he doesn't have to. Tosfot doesn't really have to agree with this. For oid mishom tekanas hashavim, ein lo ela listor es bemino. So because of the tekanas hashavim, he doesn't have to destroy his sukkah. Ela yachzor damim, so therefore he is a kinyan. Now here, this va'od is really going on a kinyan deraisa. You got to remember, again, this is going to come up later. It's going to be a bit of an issue. But the tekanas hashavim, Tosfot seemed to be saying before, what's the difference between like taking a lulav, which you're not yotze deraisa, and taking this the schach and sechach behem, which you are yotze, and we were saying that it was a kinyan deraisa hefker, beis and hefker. So here in Rashi, what's this va'od? The va'od is that this is a shina ma'isa shina Hashem. That's really a kinin derabanan, because if it goes back, va'od mishom to kanas hashavim is a kinin deraisa hefker beisin hefker ein lo alev listor lo yichzor damim. V'hat amrina beperek yashin. The moder rabbanan begazuula. So we say above and chav zayin a base. Then this is where the maklokus between Rabbi Eliezer and the Chachamim is. That the rabbanan moided to Rabbi Yanan that they hold that you're not yoitze begazula. Lav begazula sukkah hamuch beres lekarka. It's not where you steal the sukkah and it's on the ground. So our sukkah here, it's mechuber lekarka. Therefore, I mean, I don't really know how you would dan these sukkahs that are like the metal frames that you put the thing around. Is that called like a clay? You just stick that in the back of your lorry and drive it off, or you say that since it's like it's on the karka, it's enough to be mechuber lekarka. V'lo begozel עצim v'sichach behem. So it's not the mechuber lekarka. It's not the gozel עצim and yisachach bechem. Ela begozel sukkah isiya barosh agala. You do it on the top of an agala. Again, it could be the case of, so like you're doing it on the back of a trailer. You could say you just do it on the karka, but it's not mechuber lekarka. So I mean, obviously people have houses and like, you take off like a shul sukkah, usually it's like a proper building and they have some type of roof you take off and then you sukkah on. That's all, mechuber lekarka, push it. Just saying these movable ones, taka, I don't know. Or barosh sfina. So again, the sfina is holding up. It's not on the karka. It's on the ship. He atzma nigzela. So you're actually stealing the whole thing. You stick it on the back of your car. You steal the ship, and the sukkah comes with it. You steal the agala, the sukkah comes with it. Again, which would be a difference to here where you have it in your chutzner or you have it on the street, but taki could just run away with it. But you actually pick it up. So I just don't know. She'ena b'chuberes lekarka. So that sukkah you're stealing is not mechuber lekarka. Ve'ena le lachzor damim. So you don't, in that case, you don't return the money. Ela kamo shehi. You have to return the sukkah itself. Benuya, as it's benuya, you return the whole thing. De'ein ba mishum tekanas hashavim. There's no tekanas hashavim because if you do teshuva, it's not a big expense to return it. Shehrei lo tarech livnoso. You didn't build it. V'lo hoitzi elav yitzias. And you didn't spend any money on it. So that's what the tekanas hashavim is for. Hilkach gezulehi kach perish kontra. So this is just the case where you're stealing. So what is this gezula? So can we go on back here? Moide rabbanim begazula, lav begazel. So where are they moide? Where it says lecha has to be yours. Where does it have to be yours? Where does taka gazula? What case is the gazula? Where it's not mechuberes lekarka, and then you steal it. So that's perish Rashi. Kach perish of kontra. So Tosfos doesn't like the case. Basically, the Rashi is giving you what's the case of lecha. The case of lecha, where it gives you a sokol pesula, is where you steal it on a ship. The alchinem dochok. So that Rashi really is giving quite a doichik perush of this posuk, and that there's a more poshut way of how to learn what a sokol gezula is that the posuk is referring to. The midachtiv lecha, the mamit and gezula. What does the posuk say? Beperek yashan. The gazol עצim v'sichach behem shinoi achoyzer beresohu. So that and it's a midiraisa lokani. So Tosfos says that you can be the pasuk with the simple case of that you steal the trees and then you sechach behem because that's a shina choizer libriasahu and it's only a koine with a shina Hashem to midirabon and a midiraisa lokani. And since it's midiraisa lokani, so therefore the pasuk that says lecha can be referring to that. Umisham tekanas merish hayinu midirabonin. And therefore, the pasuk we can give the yokim to midiraisa. So here I had a big issue with this. What's Tosfos doing here? Mishum tekanas marish, which is the kanas hashavim. That's the midirabon, and therefore the pasuk we can be oikim it deraisa. So we were learning that the kanas marish is hefker based in hefker, and you taka koine deraisa. And since you're koine deraisa, therefore you're yoitza the mitzvah. So what does he say? It says midirabon, but the pasuk is we go deraisa. So is he being chayzer here now that he's now saying that this the kanas marish is only midrabanan mamish? We're saying yes, taka midrabanan hefker based in hefker you're to deraisa, and here he's chayzer on this. So I had a big issue with this part of the Tosfos. So this is how I would explain the Tosfos saying that it is a kinyan deraisa. And really it's kind of quite poshut that the Kro mitakam midaraisa. So God said Lecha. The Rabbanan came 1,000 years later and they made this Takanis Marish. Hayinu that the Rabbanan were metakenis. So before the Takanis Marish, if you try to do Teshuvah, when Moses comes down from Sinai and someone wants to do Teshuvah, so then there is no Takanis Hashem, and he has to destroy his house and give it back. The Chachamim later were metaking with this Takanis Hashavim, that the Takanis Hashavim will give you a Kinyan Deraisa because Hefker based in Hefker. But in between, the pasuk can still make the Yokimta of the Deraisa pasuk with Lecha, even though the Takanis Morish, you're kind of Deraisa. The pasuk was talking before the Chachamim were made the Takana, and therefore you don't have to say that you're stealing from a ship. You can say you're just stealing. You're stealing the Morish, and that you Sachik Bechem. You just stole Eitzim and Sachik Bechem, even though today you're Yotze Deraisa. In the time of the Torah, you're not Yotze Deraisa, and therefore you can use Lecha and then use that case. Now, this Midrabanan has been added in. I prefer to do it with that. I'm not so sure how Tosfos works with the Midrabanan. But afilu below agalav sfena ikla unkta kra. So even without this whole thing, without this, basically what he's saying is, without what we did here, we can still oikim the kra. Like maybe this Midrabanan saying even with the Takanas Marish, where you're koina, you still don't have to oikim the kra with this kind of crazy case of pirates. Kagon. So what's Tosfos' case? Reuven Shabana Sukkah B'Chatro Shal Shimon. Now A is now building in B's Chotzer. Again, here we got a big machlokes. Is this midaito or shalom midaito? I don't really think it makes a difference. There's two ways to learn it, and they're both approximating the same idea. But either Reuven just jumped into Shimon's Chotzer, shalom midaito, and just built his Chotzer there, or Shimon gave him reshus to build the Chotzer there, the sukkah there. Uba Shimon, so the owner of the Chotzer then came and he kicked out Reuven out of his sukkah. So now Shimon, basically he's going to say this is a stolen sukkah. So Shimon is in Reuven's sukkah in Shimon's own property. Te'ein alaya teres she'ula. It's not borrowed because given to lo kamen b'reshusa shel Reuven. He's not borrowing Reuven's sukkah because Reuven's sukkah is in Shimon's reshus. It's not in Reuven's reshus. You have to be in Reuven's reshus for it to be she'ula. V'lo dami lekarka becheskas abaylim omedes. Karka ein karka negzela, and therefore it's not that he stole. Shimon didn't steal Reuven's land because it's in Shimon's land. It's not dummy that the karka is cheskas bailim, that the karka is not in the cheskas of Reuven's karka. Reuven is not the karka of the sukkah is not becheskas Reuven because it's Shimon's karka, and therefore we can't say the karka is negzelas, and therefore Tosfos says that's a case of a stolen sukkah. So that case is just kind of a pasha case. We don't need ships, we don't need agalaz, we don't need pirates, and therefore we can oikim the whole thing without that, and we don't need all this business here of that you stole it and the dealing with the choiz librioso, the kinyan du rabbanan, and the rabbanan takana of Marish. So in the next Tosfos, we have Ri Yehuda Savar. Rabbi Yehuda Savar, we don't have a hekesh between lulav and etrog. So you need hadar. Everybody holds that etrog needs hadar. And do we need hadar when it comes to lulav? So there's a hekesh between lulav and etrog, and therefore, just like etrog needs hadar, therefore lulav also needs hadar. But Rabbi Yehuda Savar, we don't have a hekesh between lulav and etrog. Perish b'kuntras, lo hukshu, there's no hekesh. Lelamot zeh mizeh. So there's no hekesh to learn them both together. So Rashi says that the only thing when this Yud Gimel Midos, the only thing that you can learn from the Yud Gimel Midos are a kal v'chomer. That's the only thing you can do mi'atzmo. Everything else you need a Messiah for. So a hekesh, the Ri can't have a hekesh for it, but because he doesn't have the hekesh, he didn't get one from his Rebbe, and therefore he can't just make a hekesh meyatzmo, except for a kavachomer. Therefore, Rebbe who doesn't have a hekesh. So Tosfot says here v'tema gedola. This is a perusho. His perush is a tema gedola. Da'afilu soimchin. Now soimchin are two psukim beside each other, close to each other, and then you say that they're going to be like each other. And again, it's just a case of a hekesh is where they're beside each other. Again, we did this in the Mishnah. Loliv hagoizav hayavish posel shal posel. Why do we just list all four of them and say posel? Why are we splitting them up? Because they're different types of posel. Yavish v'gozel is a hekesh, a yavish like gozel, so they get their own posel, and the other two have their own posel because they're like each other. So the hekesh is where two words are beside each other, and therefore they get similar dins to each other. Soimchin, smuchin is where you have two pesukim beside each other, and then the pasuks are like each other. So Tosfot is saying that soimchim hayinu shnei mikrois and soimchin zelizeh, so two pesukim beside each other. Nitzum lidrosh min haTorah. You can make your own drushes on them, like we say in Yevamos. How do we know that we're allowed to darshan in soimchim? Shenemar soimchim la'ad la'olam oisim be'emes. So forever you can make them. You can oisim the smuchim. You can make them yourselves. Be'emes v'yasher. So obviously with this level of emes v'yasher, you can do it yourself. Kol shekain hekesha and kol shekain hekesha. So why is it a kol shekain? It seems soimchin are two separate pesukim beside each other that you can darshan them yourselves. When it's inside the one pasuk and you don't need two pesukim, then kol shekain. Again, the kol shekain is if I can lift 100 pounds, I can kol shekain lift 50 pounds. There's no svara. A kavachomer is where you need a svara between them. But if I can lift 100, for sure I can lift 50, because 50 is a subset of 100. So if two things in two separate pesukim I can darshan myself, and two things in the same pasuk I can for sure darshan myself. Hayinu shnei devarim ha-mukshim b'pasuk echad. So that's what a hekesh is. Two things in the same pasuk as opposed to two different pasukim. Afila Rabbi Yehuda, the lo darish smuchim. Again, this is Rabbi Yehuda. And if Rabbi Yehuda, you say he doesn't darshan smuchim. Elehechet demuichach v'mufne kadrim hasam. So Rabbi Yehuda only does smuchim in Sefer Devarim. And even there, he needs to have where it's muchach and it's mufne. As we say there, so even though he's arguing, so Tosfot builds a kol shekain from smuchim to a kal v'chomer, and Tosfot holds that even though Rabbi Yehuda's got a problem with smuchim, but by hekesha he's still moide. So that's Tosfot's kasha on Rashi, and he holds that Taka Rabbi Yehuda has hekesh, and therefore it's a tema gedola. So here's the Rashi here. Lo hukshu lemod zemize v'lo nitan ledrosh me'atzmo mikol yugim amiros shehatayra nidreshes behen ela kal v'chaymer. Now, there's a Rabbi Kiva Eger here. If we go, so Rabbi Kiva Eger here gives a list of Rashis here. So Ayin Rosh Hashanah. Now over there, Rashi basically says that you can do hekeshus yourself. So, and over there, Rabbi Kiveger messiahs and he said Sarachian. So the Rashi in Rosh Hashanah, Hakikamar Ilav Gezer Shava. So the Tana says, if I didn't have Gezer Shava, I would have made the hekesh myself. Ilo Nigmara Gezer Shava. If I didn't have a Nemra, if there wasn't this Kabbalah of Gezer Shavazu, the Moshe Misina that we came down there, Leduna to Danet Hayiti, Leduna Hayiti Mavi Hakol Behekesha. I would have learned the whole din by a Hekesha, Kloimar Meyatzmo. That I would have just done the whole din with the Hekesha by myself. So if I didn't have the Gezer Shava that we got from Moshe Misina, I would have just done the whole Hekesha Meyatzmo by myself. So again, here we have the Rabbi Kiveger. Rabbi Kiveger, what does he say? Ein Sukkah, Ein Arashi, and then Lisa has a Tzarchian. Now the Sfas Emes it just says basically, Kavanas Rashi, Rebbe Yehuda's farle hachi, Vachachamim pligi. That's kind of poshut. But the Reki Vega doesn't hold to that, because Reki Vega is holding Tzarachian. Why does he have it as a Tzarachian if it seems to be quite poshut? That here we're talking about Rebbe Yehuda Svarale Makshinen Lulav Le Esrog, and Rashi saying, oh yeah, Rebbe Yehuda doesn't have it. So, I mean, that's an answer for Rashi. I think the other Rashis that he brings here, I think they're saying the same thing as our sukkah, basically, that you can't just do the Yud Gimel Midas as you want. Anyway, so Tosfos gives an answer. So why is Ri Taka not Makshin and Lulav LeEsrog? Rashi says he can't, but Tosfos says he can. So why doesn't he? So Ela Kol Hamidos Yud Gimel Midos Adam Dami Atzmo Chutz Migazer Shava. So there's just a Gezer Shava you need to have a Kabbalah for. The Ein Din Ela Im Kain the Ein Dan Im Kain Lamda Mirabo. You can only do a Gezer Shava if you learned it from your Rav. The Haka Besfer Plegi. But here they're not arguing as to whether there is a Hakesha or not. He's not making the Ish Devarim She'ein LaHakisham Lota Davar. So he's saying that Ri is not making a Hekesh because there's a Svara to not make a Hekesh, and therefore they're arguing in Svara as to whether to make a Hekesh or not. The Shema, now this Shema is because Tosfos doesn't know exactly why he's not making the Hekesh, and he's given a reason why maybe he's giving the Hekesh because Kasavar Lo Shayach Losh and Hadar Ele Beperus. That I can't say this Hadar by a Lulav because Hadar is for Perus, so therefore Hadar goes on Esrog, but Hadar doesn't go on Lulav because Lulav isn't a Perus. So next Tosfos saying we don't tie up the Lulav Ele Bemino, and the Gemara says it's because Hadar. So Tema Heichi Boy Lemeimar Misham the Boy Hadar. Why would the Gemara say it's because of Hadar? Vaha Apostle B'Matnisan B'Gimuna Shozahav, that the Mishnah later on says that if you have straps of gold, then it's possible. You're not allowed to tie up your gold, your lulav with strips of gold. Shahayu Oisen Misham Noi, because they're making it because of noise. So therefore the fact that you can't tie it up with gold, then for sure the reason isn't because of Hadar. That's why it has to be Bemino. Because gold isn't Bemino, and gold is Hadar. And then it still doesn't work. So therefore it can't be because of that you need min because of Hadar. So Tosfos says, Shema Havi Matzi Lemeimor V'Letaimech. Tosfos says that maybe that if he would return to the Makshin, that it can't be according to you that is because of Noi. Then why are you not allowed to do it by Zahav? Why do you need Mino because of Noi? Because it's beautiful with the same min. So Zahav is Noi and you can't do it. So therefore Letaimech, when you're saying that it has to be B'min because of Noi, so therefore the gold should be kosher. It doesn't make so. Therefore, this doesn't make any sense. So I mean, he has it as a tema, and I have seen Perushim as to why it can be Noi and Zahav. It doesn't qualify, but Tosfos obviously is holding that the Zahav is for Noi, and therefore it's obvious that the whole reason that you need Mino is not because of Noi, it's not because of Hadar. Now the last Tosfos is a big Chiddush coming out of here. Lo Matzeh Esrog, so here we have so Ein Musifim Aleihen, so don't add to it. Lo Matzeh Esrog, if you don't have an Esrog, don't bring a Pirush, like a quince or something. For Lo Rimon, so if you don't have a Esrog, don't bring a quince or a Rimon, and not something else. Kamushim Kaveri Vashim Pasulim. So if you don't have the Esrog, don't bring something else. So Yesh Ledakdek, there's a dig from here to Im Lo Matzah Kosher. If you don't have an Esrog Kosher, Mivorech B'Posel, then take a Posel Esrog and bless on the Posel Esrog. Because what's it saying? We did not get Pirush or a Rimon. So since it says so Lo Yevo Lo Perish V'Lo Rimon, you can bring an Esrog Posel, Lo Matzah Esrog Kosher, then bring an esrog posel and bless on it. So Dafka says, but don't bring a pirush or a rimon, because then people, if you make a bracha on a pirush or a rimon, then people in future years, even which kosher esrog, will start making brachas on rimons. You probably see, in certain places in Berkeley, they're making brachas on rimons anyway, as their arba. It's the new style, the new age arba minim.
It's like the orange on the Seder plate. You have to present the LGBT community.
So Tosis has this. Now everyone's jumping on Tosis, but Tosis holding, at least so far, if you lo matzah kosher, mivarech b'posel. Again, obviously lo matzah kosher, but if it's not now, even according to Tosis, right? If you have a posel esrog, I don't know, it's not kol bracha levatala. Even if the guy beside you has a kosher esrog, you've got 300 kosher esrogs in your shul, and you've screwed up your esrog somehow, and you're oblivious and you're making a bracha. Maybe you could tie according to Tosis here, it's not a bracha levatala because you can have. So lo matzah kosher, mavarach b'posel. So midinach peres for lo rimon. Yesh litchos. So Tosis just says yesh litchos. You can litchos. So again, here the pashtus of the litchos is for sure don't bring a posel esrog, because it's like nicker that it's posel and you'll come to make brachos and posel. But even a pirush and a rimon, which would be hadar, they look lovely, don't bring those. That's the kind of the pashtus of the yesh litchos, but Tosis doesn't explain his yesh litchos. About yesh ledakdek, the shari. So Tosis says, but really, yes, you can doich, it's not muchrach, but really we can be medakdek. So it goes on, the Gemara goes on and it says that if you have a lulav posel, a lulav yavesh, that they used to be in certain cities, they would keep the lulav for generations, and they would hand it down to their children, and their children would make brachas on them. It's like when you find like a really good lulav, it's like, yeah, I'll just keep this for next year. So the chachamim say, no, you can't, and I think it's Rabbi Yehuda there says, yeah, no problem. So then he says, they would have it for generations, and the chachamim say you can't learn from a shasat dachak. So seemingly there, the Rabbanan saying, yeah, bidi eved, you're allowed to keep this yavesh lulav for generations, and it's better to have a yavesh lulav, rather, I guess not completely yavesh, there's a certain level of yavesh, it's better to have that yavesh lulav rather than nothing, and make the bracha on that yavesh lulav. But lechatchila don't do it. So Tosis is saying, yesh ledakdek leshari, again it's bidi eved. I think bidi eved is because you don't have an esrog kosher, a lo matzah kosher, so it's bidi eved. So therefore shari to make a bracha on the posel one kamol lulav posel the rabbanon b'shas dechak. So the rabbanon are moida b'shas dechak. I think the re is lechatchila, but the rabbanon are shas dechak moida that you can make this bracha on this non-hadar lulav bidi eved, and therefore it would be just like by lulav b'shas dachak you can make a bracha on a posel. So to here on a posel you can mevarech on a esrog posel.